Hello and welcome to all. In previous lecture, we have discussed about simple pendulum and term related with motion of simple pendulum or oscillation like time period, amplitude, frequency, and relationship between time period and frequency. In today's lecture, we will discuss about a graph which is drawn between square of the time period versus length of the string, which is drawn here. On x-axis length is represented, and on y-axis t square is represented. And on experiment we observed a straight line. This topic is basically related to the experimentation on simple pendulum, through which we can find the value of acceleration due to gravity, which is represented as g. From this graph we have to calculate the experimental value of g. On for various value of L, if we have find the time period of oscillation, then there is an a straight line is observed for this relation t square versus length of the string. We will also perform this experiment in our lab work, in which we found this graph. Uh, the value of g can be obtained by this formula, which is 4 pi square upon slope of graph for t square versus L. T square versus L, the slope of this graph. To find slope of the graph, we have considered 2 points P and Q on this straight line. The position of P on y-axis is represented as T1, and on x-axis it is represented as L1, whereas point Q is represented as T2 on y-axis and L2 on x-axis. Basically these are the coordinates of these 2 points. Then slope of graph can be expressed as it is the difference of y coordinates and in denominator difference of L coordinates, like t1 minus t2 upon l1 minus l2. This relation gives the slope of graph t square versus length of the string. On repeated experiment and putting value of the slope of the graph, we have found that the value of g will be nearly equal to 9.8 meter per second square, which is same as the value of acceleration due to gravity. As we know that The value of acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meter per second square. Then this result shows that the validity of experiment after various experiment performed on simple pendulum. It was found that mainly two factors which affect the time period of oscillation. First one is a length of the string, and second one is acceleration due to gravity, that is represented as small g. Time period of oscillation is directly proportional to square root of length of the string, and time period is directly proportional to 1 by square root of acceleration due to gravity, or we can say that time period is inversely proportional to the square root of g, acceleration due to gravity. If we conclude both statement, we can write here that t is directly proportional to length of the string and acceleration due to gravity. Then we have found the final expression for time period of oscillation, t equal to 2 pi root under L by g. Here 2 pi is constant and g is constant. For any g is constant for earth, which is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. Next term is seconds pendulum. It is a pendulum having time period is 2 seconds is known as seconds pendulum. That is, t will be equal to 2 seconds for the second pendulum. Now here a question related to seconds pendulum. Find the length of seconds pendulum at a place where g equal to 9.8 meter per second square. As the definition of second pendulum, we know that time period for second pendulum is 2 second and g is given, which is 9.8 meter per second square. From the expression of time period of oscillation, we know that t time period of oscillation will be equal to 2 pi under root length of the string upon g. Now putting these two value in this equation, and we will find that the value of L, that is length of the string. If we rearrange this equation, that is, if 2 pi is right here, t by actually it is t by 2 pi will be equal to root under L by z, and now squaring both sides, then we can write that t square upon 4 pi square will be equal to root under L by g is converted into L by z. Now again we have to calculate the length of the string, then L will be equal to t square into g upon 4 pi square. Now putting respective values in this equation, t is given at 2 seconds, then 2 square into G, which is 9.8 upon 4 into pi 3.14 square, which is 2 to the 4, 4 and 4 get cancelled, then it will be written as 9.8 upon 3.14 whole square. After solving this, we have found that it will be equal to 0.994. Then length of the string will be 0.994 meter. Here, here is a question related to the second pendulum. Find the length of second pendulum when g equal to 10 meter per second square. Take pi equal to 3.14, which is simple. It is similar to the previous questions which is discussed. I will give you some questions related to the topic of simple pendulum. Thank you. Stay home and keep safe.